I hope you're ready to hear some things I'm not ready to hear.
Things that Christians aren't ready to hear. With me, a former pastor, now atheist. We don't know a single word that Jesus actually said. We know none. I want you to let that sink in.
Now, I'm hearing what you're saying, former pastor, now atheist, but I'm not understanding. You're gonna have to elaborate for me on that one.
The Gospels were written decades after his death, in Greek, not in Aramaic, the language he actually spoke. Every quote is already a translation, and it's often reshaped to fit the agenda of different communities.
This is a bit of a silly argument, isn't it? There are some countries, I won't say who, that are in the nasty habit of chanting, "Death to America! Death to America!" But that's not actually what they were saying. You can't say that they were saying that. They weren't speaking English. You can communicate the message of what someone is saying through language. That's why it's called a language barrier, not like a language brick wall. Do you see why that's a silly argument? This doesn't take any credibility away from the gospel. Why does he have Donald Trump in his background? Is this just how you get views these days? I would never do something so gimmicky as that. Anyway, guys, let's jump back into this video and see what he has to say.
The Gospels don't even agree on what Jesus said. Matthew's Lord's Prayer is different than Luke's. The Beatitudes aren't the same. Jesus' last words on the cross. 4 Gospels, 4 different versions. That's not consistency. That's contradiction.
Holy AI, what did I just hear? That's not consistency. That's contradiction. That's the most AI-generated sentence I've ever heard in my life. Oh, and by the way, it's also wrong. Part of the art of storytelling is knowing your audience. If I wanted to tell my friends about the time that a middle-aged man actually tried to kidnap me when I was like 23 years old, I'd probably emphasize the humor of the story. Because guess what? It was funny. Traumatizing but funny. But if I'm trying to warn someone about the neighborhood, I might tell the same story a little bit different.
You were lying the first time you told that story.
No, the facts of the story are the same. The message is the same. The Gospels were not written like security cameras. They're not a play-by-play on what happened. And that's not what they claim to be, so why do you need it to be that? These are stories. They're allowed to be stories. Let them be stories. And they're true stories, but they're still stories. The book of Matthew was written for a Jewish audience, and the book of Luke was written for a Gentile audience, or basically everyone. So from that fact alone, we would know that there would be some things that don't exactly line up. The book of Matthew points out a lot of prophecies that Jesus was fulfilling and showing that he was the Messiah and God. The book of Luke emphasizes different things, as do all the other Gospels. And that's not contradiction. That's consistency. Maybe he'll say some other things in the video that I'm not ready to hear. Kinda doubt it.
The earliest Christian writer, Paul, never records a single teaching of Jesus. No parables, no sermons, no prayers, nothing.
It's super interesting that he makes this point because I think that this very thing actually lends a lot of credibility to the Gospels. Yes, Paul's letters were written before the Gospels, but he references them all the time. How is that possible? Think for a second. You have all these stories that are circulating about Jesus, all these eyewitness testimony. And then you have Paul, who has this encounter with the living Christ. And because he was a Pharisee, he took all the knowledge that he knew before and was able to apply it directly to these stories that he's hearing all around him. And the Gospels were just written a short time later.
So let's just be honest. When you say Jesus said, you're not actually quoting him. You're quoting church spin centuries removed. So let's stop pretending you got his actual words, because you don't. What you have is myth, editing, and wishful thinking dressed up as history.
What the ChatGPT? I'm sorry, you can just kind of tell when something is written by AI, can't you? It's so strange watching people try to discredit the Gospels by any means necessary. Well, you can't tell me the ideology of Hitler because you don't speak any German. Well, that's what translations are for, you donut. Anyway, have a nice day.